Just think about, those you wouldn't have to compile them as well. You could just run them like they were, right? Or
you could run the script files. I'll show you. And this is
without compiling anything. But then, how would that be if you do that on the server? If it reads it into memory, would it be much slower, or is it, how would that be?
Compiling the application natively has it start up about 20% faster. The main benefit isn't really the startup time as much as it is not having the source code in there.
Okay, but the speed is more or less the same when it's first loaded? Or?
The speed as it's executing is the same, because Lasso does compile the code in memory, and it compiles it to the same stuff that it reads off the disk when you compile it ahead of time. So it's a matter of compiling it before or dynamically.
But what you just showed us was the preferred way to do what we previously did when we put stuff in the Lasso library folder.
Yes.
We do make on them instead.
You do make on them instead. Currently, that is the only thing that's loaded out of the Lasso libraries folder. We do want to add back the ability to put in, we may have already done that, we need to test it, but it may actually load .lasso file. But the problem is, with these dynamic libraries, it's really easy for Lasso to probe it and see what it defines without actually having to load it. But when you have a regular .lasso script file, it has to parse everything and see what it is. So loading things dynamically, it's much faster if it's compiled. And for the end user, if I typed,
and while you're doing that, I mean, this is a command line stuff you do, but since we have access to command line possibilities through OS process and stuff like that, we could soon see a tag that did that for us. Just point it to a file and say, make this into a library file.
you could. It seems a little bit of a roundabout way to do it. And also you're talking about...
We have Lasso users that are fairly scared of using command line stuff. I mean, we shouldn't waste that audience completely.
Well, we have tried to make it as easy as possible. You can type just one thing. I mean, I see your point about trying to automate some things. For example, maybe you're having people give you code, and then you can compile it and have it put into the Lasso libraries. Although that's a dangerous thing to do on a server. But, safer to do it ahead of time on your development server, and then make sure it works and test it before you deploy it. Thank you.
So we have to do it twice. We develop on Mac, and production is Linux. We have to make twice, once for each platform.
Yeah, if you're going to compile it to a native library, yeah, you would need to build it on Linux. You need to type the make on Linux. Or you could use the .bc file, which has, it's a trade-off. You get a little more flexibility. In a case where you're writing your own code for deployment and you're doing it on a Mac, then it's perfectly valid to do it to a BC file, which can be shared amongst the processors. Though if you're developing on an x86 Mac and deploying it on a PPC Linux server, then you run into the same problem because they use different processors, so the files are actually different. The BC format isn't our format; it's a format that LLVM uses. So we just try and use it as best we can and try and use the LLVM tools. Anything? And it's still not done. Okay, thank you.